The Texas Longhorns absolutely rolled Florida yesterday, and some of that, you say, hey, Florida's playing a third-string quarterback. As soon as we knew DJ Lagway wasn't going to be the guy for Florida in that game, you kind of knew where that thing was going if you were Texas. But nonetheless, man, for Texas to roll the way that they did, score over 40 points, Quinn Ewers is dialed in, having 4 touchdowns in the first half. It's encouraging if you're a Texas fan. And I was thinking this morning about what we wanted to say about Texas, and I just kind of arrived at this thought. Texas, even with all that's being said, even with the Georgia game, they're going to be there at the end of this thing. They're going to be, I believe, one of the Final Four teams in the college football playoff. We'll talk about it right now. Make sure you're subscribed. College football, nothing but college football, every single day right here on the On3 YouTube channel. This show, The Hard Count, every single day, but live 3 times a week, 11 a.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Make sure you are subscribed. Appreciate you for that. So why do we feel this way about Texas? Why do we feel so strongly about Texas? JD, that Georgia game. I mean, hey, we kind of saw what we needed to see there, right? Georgia didn't look that great against Ole Miss yesterday. We'll get to that in a second. Here's the facts. Texas still has one of the best rosters in college football. Texas still has one of the most experienced rosters in college football. 25 when it comes to returning production ranking from a season ago. All right, so a lot of guys played a lot of ball, played a lot of meaningful ball when it comes to what they did last year, winning the Big 12 and making the college football playoff, being a Final Four team a year ago. Elite quarterback. And people dunk on Quinn Ewers, and that's fine. I mean, let them have their jokes. Let them get their social media clips out there, whatever. Quinn Ewers is still one of the best quarterbacks in the sport. And I understand now we're going to point to the Georgia game. We're going to point to the way that he didn't look that awesome against Oklahoma coming off the injury, but that's really what I'm looking at here. I think Quinn Ewers, when he's healthy, is a lot closer to what he was those first few games of the season than that game against Georgia and that game against Oklahoma where he's coming back from injury and he's not totally himself yet. Great breakdown on the broadcast yesterday. His feet and his base overall, I'm not a quarterback guru, but the way they broke that down, I think with Quinn Ewers coming back from injury and now becoming more and more of himself and having the game he had yesterday, going over 300 yards, having 5 touchdowns, looking dialed in, looking comfortable, that's the Quinn Ewers that we came to expect this season. That's the Quinn Ewers they're going to have down the way. And Quinn Ewers, that kind of level down the stretch is going to be more than enough for Texas to, I believe, make a very deep run in the college football playoff paired with the roster. Now, pair the quarterback and the roster with who I believe is one of the best coaches in the sport in Steve Sarkisian. And if you don't believe me, just think about where Texas was before he got there. The Texas job before Sark got there was like leprosy. People I know, hey, you don't touch it. Don't touch it. You can't win there. Bad culture. The boosters, they got their hands in the cookie jar. You can't do it. People turning the lights off on the Texas roster, Texas job. Steve Sarkisian gets there. Texas lumps. Miss a bowl game the first year. They win 8 ball games the next year. The third year, pop year, they go ahead and make the college football playoff and win the conference. So yeah, guy can coach ball. Guy is a builder. All right, and right now he has a roster he can cook with. He's also, it's worth saying now, he's been a part of national title teams. So Steve Sarkisian isn't searching for the formula. Hey, what do those national title teams look like? What do they practice like? He knows. He's seen it. He was under Nick Saban. He gets the process and what it's like to achieve at the highest level. And so all those things to me combine together to where it's hey, I wouldn't bet against Texas. I'm just telling you, I think they're going to be right there at the end of this thing when it comes to that those Final Four teams in the college football playoff. Now, the big objection we'll get to this take is, well, the Georgia loss kind of tells us all we need to know, right? Georgia came to your trap, took over your trap, as Kirk Cousins would say, and, beat you by 2 scores. And that was the game you were supposed to take the next step, right? Disappointing, frustrating, totally get it. It was definitive, too. Georgia, their offensive line gave Texas problems up front. I still think if Quinn Ewers is healthy throughout the course of the season and is in rhythm in that game, maybe you don't see those turnovers. Maybe he is a little bit more dialed in the pocket and able to see the picture a little bit more clearly, just my assessment. But also, I think when you look at that game, it could be the measuring stick for Texas to where they say, okay, this is where we got to get to go to where we want to go. I'll say that again. I was speaking a little bit excited there, a little bit fast. This is the game that we look at, that we circle, we look in the mirror and say, if we want to go compete for national titles, we have to bring that same level of physicality, intensity, aggression that Georgia brought to our place when they beat us by 2 scores. That's what it looks like. And so you never say there's such a thing as a good loss. It's not a word or a phrase that we really believe in. But I would still say if you're Texas, to be able to have that come to Jesus moment, if you will, at that point in the season and to be able to understand, hey, this is where we got to go, and to see it firsthand, I think that's going to benefit them in the long run. So all that's to say, man, I think Quinn Ewers getting more dialed in. I think Texas getting a chance to almost step out of the limelight a little bit. Everyone's talking about Oregon. Everyone's talking about now Ole Miss beating Georgia yesterday. Everyone's talking about Ohio State. Texas just casually hanging out there, control their own destiny for the college football playoff, control their own destiny for the SEC. They're going to be there at the very end. And to me, they are a team that is built to, and I believe will ultimately make a run and be one of those teams at the end in the college football playoff. Let me know your thoughts. Lock in right here. College football, nothing but college football. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all